We reject our crazies. It's
What?
time for you guys to reject him.
Okay.
Give me a crazy person, I'll reject him.
Donald Trump.
See, that's your problem. He's not crazy. That's your problem.
Greg Gutfeld and Jessica Tarlov clash over compassion and common sense. Greg Gutfeld and Jessica Tarlov engage in a heated debate about the limits of compassion, irrational policies, and the growing influence of radical ideas in the Democratic Party. From placing menstrual products in boys' bathrooms to supporting surgical transitions for minors, Gutfeld argues that liberals have abandoned common sense out of fear of appearing as tensions rise. The discussion highlights the contradictions shaping modern politics. Where does empathy end, and where does irrationality begin? The debate over menstrual products in boys' bathrooms. The policy of placing menstrual products in boys' restrooms has sparked controversy, symbolizing the clash between inclusivity and practicality. Tarlov defends it as a necessary step to accommodate transgender boys, biological females who identify as male, viewing it as a compassionate response to their needs. However, Gutfeld dismisses this as an example of an empathy-driven agenda disconnected from reality. For many, such policies don't represent progress, but rather the extreme lengths inclusivity has reached. Gutfeld argues that embracing ideas like these alienates moderates and blurs the line between genuine compassion and performative activism, raising concerns about whether common sense still holds value in public discourse.
But if you knew anything about the pink tax or how difficult it is for women when they have their period and they don't have access to tampons.
It's not about
pads.
women. They can get as many tampons as they want.
That's not
Give them
true.
free tampons. It's the boys.
I want to hear this.
The point of having menstrual products available in a boys' bathroom is for 4th to 12th graders, I think, that if there is someone who identifies, if there is a biological female who identifies as a male and uses that, your laughing will be the undoing.
You're encouraging empathy, which we all admire,
No, you
go
don't.
into an irrational world.
You don't admire it. I need to say something
No
about
one
the National
is
Guard.
using the boys' bathroom that's menstruating, Jessica.
That's
I would like to pull back and talk about something that would help the Democrat Party if they only listened. I'm going to pretend that I'm not talking to Jessica, but I'm talking to the whole Democratic Party. So liberals, in their very best sense, are the party of empathy and compassion. Their problem is they extend that benefit to people who prey upon innocent citizens. That is their problem. They don't know the boundaries to their compassion or their empathy, and that's why they need conservatives to say, hey, knock it off, pull.
The limits of empathy in liberal policies. Gutfeld critiques the Democratic Party for prioritizing ideology over pragmatism. He argues that unrestrained empathy has led liberals to defend policies that may ultimately harm society, such as supporting irreversible medical transitions for minors while opposing school choice. He warns that unchecked compassion can become counterproductive, fostering division and undermining trust in governance. True progress, he asserts, comes from balancing empathy with common sense, creating policies that serve all citizens, not just the loudest activists. The shift in liberal ideology. Gutfeld sees the debate over menstrual products in boys' bathrooms as part of a larger issue. The Democratic Party's struggle to set boundaries on empathy. He draws a comparison to conversion therapy, which liberals once condemned for suppressing a person's true identity. Now, he argues, many support medical transitions for minors, another intervention that permanently alters young lives. This contradiction raises questions about the party's consistency. How did a movement that once championed personal autonomy shift to endorsing medical procedures for children that carry lifelong consequences? Gutfeld believes this reflects a deeper issue within liberalism, a departure from common-sense governance in favor of appeasing radical activists.
Certain positions that are that bad. Like, why do they have to make excuses for rioters and looters? That is not necessarily a liberal position. They don't have to do it. So if you think of other liberal positions, arguing for surgical transitions for children, banning school choice, funding foreign wars, bailing out failants. What if these aren't liberal positions? They're just awful ones. Then you could reject them. You don't have to sit here and defend tampons for boys. You could just say, you know what, there's nothing liberal about that, right? Only nut jobs want kids to have nut jobs. It's not about being liberal or conservative. But the problem is the Democrats have allowed radicals to define what is liberal. So tampons for boys, suddenly, Jessica, you have to defend it. You shouldn't have to. You know, liberals were always against conversion therapy. That was a psychological attempt at curing homosexuality. Now they're defending invasive surgical solutions to do the same thing. How did that become liberal?
Can liberals reclaim common sense? Gutfeld and other critics argue that rejecting extreme ideas and embracing practical, widely accepted policies could bridge the growing divide between liberals and conservatives. Policies grounded in common sense appeal to a broad audience and create opportunities for productive dialogue. By distancing themselves from fringe activism, liberals can realign with the majority of Americans who seek realistic solutions to real-world problems. This shift wouldn't weaken progressive ideals, but rather strengthen them by restoring trust and fostering unity. However, defending controversial policies continues to be a challenge for mainstream Democrats. Gutfeld warns that supporting divisive issues, whether it's backing rioters, endorsing surgical transitions for minors, or opposing school choice, makes liberals vulnerable to accusations of being out of touch with everyday Americans. These positions not only weaken the Democratic Party's appeal, but also reinforce the conservative argument that ideology is prioritized over practicality. For liberals to remain competitive, they must reject extremes and embrace policies that resonate with the common sense instincts of the electorate.